What's going on, everyone? It's Adam here from No Shelf Space, and today we are talking about deduction mystery cooperative games. And I have something to admit. I have a shelf or a stack of games that need to be reviewed or in the process of being reviewed, which means I've played them a couple times. I got to play them more yet. But I keep them all in like one section of my room so that I can, pay attention to it. Somehow a game slipped out of that pile and onto my shelf. And I was looking for a game to play the other night, and I found this game, and I was like, oh my goodness, I've had this for months, and I've never opened it, and I've never reviewed it. This one was sent over to me by Asmodee Canada. It is published by, I believe, Space Cowboys, but we're not going to look at that yet. I want to talk about two other games that are similar to this one that I have really enjoyed. So let's check those out first, and then we'll come to the game that I want to talk about today. The two games I am talking about, this one here is Star Wars Unlock. But the Unlock series as a whole, and I have a lot of Unlock. I have a whole shelf of them over there. This is just the one I pulled out. And I love the Unlock series, where you get a set of cards and you split them up between all the players, and then you flip over that first card and you start pulling more cards from around the table and flipping them and trying to solve puzzles. It is a lot of fun. Fighting against that 1 hour timer-ish is great. Trying to solve the mystery, really good. Sometimes some things don't always make sense in these Unlock games, but for the most part, when it comes to, if I were to compare Unlock and say Exit, if you've played the Exit series, I like Unlock a lot more. And when I reviewed this, and when I've reviewed many of these, I always seem to enjoy them. Some puzzles I like more than others, some stories I like more than others, but in general, I think the Unlock series is very, very good. If you want a deeper experience, then I've been playing this one as well, and multiple of them. I have the Thames Murders and Other Cases. I've got Investigations in Arkham, and this one here is Carlton House in Queen's Park. These ones are like nearly impossible. I don't know if I've ever met someone, and if you are that someone, leave a comment down below. But I don't know if I've ever met someone who has beat Sherlock Holmes at a case. So what you do is you get a case and you have to try to solve it. And when you're all done, you compare your score, and you'll get a score somehow. It's been a little while, but you'll get a score, and then you compare it to how fast Sherlock Holmes did it. He always seems to do it in like 4 or 5 stops. Like you get the whole map of the town or a map of the house, and you can go to different places and ask questions, and you'll look in a book to get the responses for those questions. But Sherlock seems to be able to do it in like 4 or 5 turns. Meanwhile, we play this for like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and some probably, in many cases, come up with the completely wrong answer. Sometimes we come up with the right answer, but we accuse the wrong person. So this one, it's a lot of fun, and if you've got people that really like to think, this is the thinkiest of all 3 of these games. But recently, I have been playing Perspectives. Now, Perspectives is a little bit different. It is 3 cases in the box. Each case has 4 acts, and 3 of the 4 acts in each case have 12 cards. So Act 1 has 12 cards, Act 2 has 12 cards, Act 3 has 12 cards. And what you're going to do is you're going to read the case, and I'm just going to pull one out here as an example. I don't want to show the cards off because it'll be a little spoilery, so I'm not going to do that. But here we go. For instance, we have case number 1, and on the back, it's going to tell you how to play. So it says, read the Act 1 story aloud, and then hand out the cards. You hand them out evenly to all the players at the table, and then people can look at their cards and openly discuss their cards. But you don't make notes, you don't share cards, you don't show cards. You have your cards and they have theirs, and you begin to discuss the story. You can open the flap on the back like this, and as you can see, nicely inside are the cases labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. The case is the act, So, for instance, we'll take out Act 1 for the case called the Nagaraja, Kolkata, India, 1st of January 2009. And I will read this for you because I don't think this ruins anything. In fact, this might entice you to purchase the game. I'm not going to hold it up because there are questions on the back here that I don't want you to see. But here we go. Act 1. Last night at the Kolkata Museum, someone picked up a curious detail on one of the relics on display. After investigating the matter, it was demonstrated that this relic, known as the Nagaraja, was a forgery. The credibility of the museum's curator, Neela Kumari, was immediately challenged, and some requested that she resign. In her defense, Neela Kumari reminded them that the Nagaraja was on loan to Kolkata Museum from the New Delhi Museum, which had acquired it from the, and I apologize right now before I say this, the Ahmedabad Museum. Your assignment is to find the authentic Nagaraja as fast as you can. At the end of act number 1 of your investigation, try to answer the following question. And it has a question. I will read this. It says, what day was the forgery swapped with the authentic Nagaraja? So we've read the thing. Now, on the back side of this is the question that's right here. So you can see a question right there. That question is on the back with 3 other questions that relate to the cards you're looking at. So you want to look for other details in the cards. And then you're going to take the cards out, and they are numbered 1 through 12. And you're just going to deal these out around the table. I don't want to show the cards. I don't want to ruin anything for this game. But the cards will have different kinds of information on it. I will explain a little bit what some of the cards look like. We have cards that have, they're like acceptance paperwork. So when you get a relic from a different museum, it's like the paperwork that goes with it, with the acquisition date and all of that. We have flyers for an event, for a gala. We have the composition, the chemical composition of the statue. We've got like a diagram of the shape of the statue and the measurements for it, and a bunch of other different things. So these will be passed out to people around the table, and then you begin discussing what's on your cards. At some point, you decide that you know the answer to the questions that are on the back of the folder. So you flip the folder over, and you read out the questions and try to come up with the answers. When you're done that, I'm going to flash it. Don't pause, okay? Don't pause if you don't want to be ruined. So once you finish the quest, you do that, and did you see it? I hope you didn't see it. What it does is it has the questions and answers right at the top of the page here on my side, so you can't see it. And then it actually explains the solution about how you should have come up with these answers. It is so good. Of the 3 of these, Unlock, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, and Perspectives, Perspectives is by far my favorite. And we played 2 of these in one day. I've got 1 left to play before I kind of publish a review. And absolutely phenomenal. Now, you might have remembered I said there are 3 acts and 12 cards per. The 4th act will act a little bit differently, but it'll be the same for all the different cases. When you do the 4th act, you'll get more flavor text for the story, but then you're going to put all the cards you've collected so far face up on the table. And just so you know, when you're answering the questions for the other acts, between all the players, you can choose 1 card to put face up on the table in the middle, and everybody else has to put their cards down, and then you answer the question. So there's a little bit of a, what I don't love is there's a little bit of like a memory aspect, because it might say, and this is not one of them, but in one of the cases it rains, and it might say, hey, what time did it rain? Like, obviously if you looked at your card, you'd be like, oh, it was 11 a.m. But like you're supposed to try to remember. I understand why they do that. It's because you got to think through it. You have to be able to think critically, but also kind of keep information in your brain that maybe isn't important to the specific question, but could be important for an auxiliary question. But that's neither here nor there. For Act 4, you're going to put all the cards from the case face up on the table, and you're going to try to answer that 4th. There's a question, just like all the other 3, there's another question on there, and then 3 more questions on the back. But now everybody is looking at all the cards from the entire case. This is by far the hardest part, in my opinion, is coming up with that final answer. And we've got it wrong before. We had a murder mystery where we accused the right, or we had the right motive, and we had the right reasoning and everything, but we had the wrong person. The way it works is over the 4 rounds, you have 4 questions per round, so that's a total of 16 points. And depending on how many points you get is how well you've done, and the game tells you, hey, Sherlock's really impressed. He wants you on his team, or you guys got great minds, or you could do better, kind of stuff like that. Our first case, I think we got 13 out of 16, which is a pretty good score. The second case, we got 15 out of 16, but the first case, we got 16 out of 16. However, we kind of accidentally cheated by looking. I just happened to flip the envelope over and read one of the questions, and that question made me re-look at a different card during Act 4. So we took those points away and gave ourselves 13 out of 16, which is still pretty good. And then I think the second one we did, we got 14 or 15 out of 16. So we've never got perfect, although we do have 1 case left. but we've never got perfect, but it's so good. There's 3 cases in the box. This is the one I have yet to do. I love the packaging. Really nice cards. Really well done. Nice glossy cards. I love how they're labeled in there. Act 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a really great game. I don't know how expensive it is in your area, whether you're in Canada, United States, Europe, wherever you might be. But if you're looking for a fun game that non-gamers could enjoy, because I do think that you don't necessarily need to be a gamer to play perspectives. You just need to have a good critical thinking mind to look at pictures and put pictures and pictures together and put pictures that other people are holding that you can't see. So what they're saying, you got to match what they're saying to your own pictures to try to come up with the answers. I think these are brilliant. They take about an hour. The more people you have, the harder it is in reality. So our 2-player game took us an hour. Our 4-player game probably took us an hour and a half. But this is so much fun. You're not really fighting a clock, which is really nice. You don't have to worry about that timer. You just get to think critically about what you're looking at. And honestly, cannot recommend this enough. We'll have a full written review on gamesreviews.com. Not too long from now, hopefully soon. I'm going to play the last quest today. I hope they come out with more perspectives because I think these are so well written. And they are written, by the way, by the team that did... just really quick here. The reason why I showed it, and I think I can do this without showing anything of... Yeah, I can show you this. It says, Dave Neal is an award-winning narrative designer and writer passionate about exploring how games can tell stories. Matthew Dunstan is an Australian game designer and former research scientist who enjoys exploring games in different contexts, from narrative-driven experiences to games that you can be printed at home. Investigative fans challenge the master detective in Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. So this is just the other games that are come from, I think, these designers, but as well as this publisher right there, which is why I took those 2 out of the cupboard. But this does say 90 minutes, 2 to 6 players, 12 plus. Like I said, we did 1 in an hour. We did 1 in an hour and a half. Seems about right, guys. I suggest you check it out if you haven't yet. If you like deduction games, if you like having fun, this is a great little party game. You can sit around a table. You don't need to sit at a kitchen table. You can sit on couches and stuff. I think this is worth getting. I highly recommend it. Be sure to check it out. Big shout out to Asmodee Canada for sending this over so long ago. And honestly, my sincere apologies for not making this video and writing about it so much sooner. Until next time, folks, thanks for watching. And we'll chat again real soon. Goodbye.